talk to groups, I'm raising levels of expectation that not only are we going to talk about it, we're going to do something about it. And that's where we're at today. Today is the time that we initiate the process of the doing, that we get the information out, get it organized, get people engaged, and come up with further ideas and then start acting on them. And I've always been involved in such agencies as United Way, other types of charitable endeavors and campaigns. And it's always good that when you start a campaign, that you've already done a preliminary campaign, if you will. Have something already in the bank. Have part of your goal already attained. And thanks to some of you here in the room, we have some of that already. Let me give you 2 examples. One, thanks to Tom Reeder, to give you an example of how to listen, react to customers, deal with issues. Very early on, we had the issue of the drought management plans. The first group that were evaluated as they came in from cities and towns, we rejected, was it 90%, Tom? First batch we sent out, 90% of them were disapproved. My phone started ringing, Tom's phone was ringing, and we talked. We looked at the commonalities between the plans that were coming in with the idea of enforcing that statute in the law, but how can we restate it and do it differently? We started looking for the commonalities as to why are the plans deficient, that high failure rate? Can't we communicate better to the customer, in this case the water systems that we're dealing with? And we did that. We had outreach through the League of Municipalities and the Association of County Commissioners. They put on workshops to help train and share information as to what we're really looking for. We wanted plans that would be submitted that could be approved the first time around rather than handling them 2 or 3 or 4 times, which is very beneficial. That first batch that went out, we had headlines in newspapers accusing mayors and council members of dereliction of their duty. This year is an odd-numbered year, so it's an election year. That may have been, I don't know, but it may have played a part in even some of the local elections. We did that. Now the approval rate is like 85%. Meaning...
Actually, Linwood did all that outreach and with the league and people like that.
Right. So there's one success story. Another is, early on when I came into the department, we had a man who was really complaining. He was being fined, and he was dealing with riparian buffers down on the coast, and he needed certain certificates to build things that he wanted to build. The only problem was he violated the rules, was called on it. He didn't respond. He went ahead and violated the rule again, and I think maybe a 3rd time. He was just in your face with it. And finally, the agency came down on him, as they should have. And he came to me when I came into office, tried to come to me, wanted me to basically forgive his fee or tell him his fine. And he wanted me to say, no. First of all, I didn't receive him. If I opened up the door to receive people who wanted to basically appeal a fine, that's all I'd ever get done. But he did come to see Colleen and Chuck. We sat down, we talked to him. After about 15 or 20 minutes, I just simply told him, pay your fine. You're going to have to deal with this agency many more times. You're a developer. You can't operate this way. You can't behave this way. Pay your fine. Which I think he ultimately has done, Chuck.
He's working on it.
He's working on it. But out of that, he did have, and this is the hard part. He said, well, why can't you do this, 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 and this? And you listen, and some of it you hear and you know is just absolutely worthless. But trying to listen see if there's anything in there that has real validity, something that you can grab and then do something with it. Chuck and his folks heard that. And I asked Colleen, is there anything in here that can be done to possibly avoid this sort of situation again and provide for a better, more effective way of doing things? And that resulted in, about a month or so ago, I signed a memorandum of agreement between our Coastal Management Division and DWQ. Basically, so DWQ was delegating authority to Coastal Management to receive and process these permits so that the customer would only go to one place and get one permit to have a water buffer certification. And a little thing, maybe a big thing, a simple thing that was hard to get to. You had to stop, listen, filter through some of the nonsense, make sure somebody was paying their fine, which meant that the environment was being properly protected. But in the end, you have a more effective way of doing things. You have, I hope, maybe a customer who's not happy he's paying a fine, but maybe he feels he got some satisfaction. Hopefully he went away ultimately feeling that he was listened to. So two real-life examples of how this process, I think, is already underway, paying some dividends and helping both the department and the people that we work with. And I'm very proud of that. Any questions? Ready for lunch? Okay. Yes, sir. Dr. Jones.
I don't want to keep it from lunch. Just two things that strike me looking at. If you take it as a whole, and you've mentioned many times in your overview the importance of public knowledge.
Right.
We call it environmental education. The trouble is the word education usually gets people completely glazed over. So public knowledge, public understanding. But actually, if you read through the whole document, there's nowhere in there that really says that. So I think, and even if it's only under the shop windows that the parks, the aquarium, the museum, and zoo, which are the best way probably to monitor that.
Okay.
There probably needs to be something in there, I think, that actually sort of says, and we need to pay attention to the best knowledge. There's been a lot of research done recently which says actually our traditional way of educating is not working. So a lot of it for Lisa and others, I think there's a lot to be done on actually finding out that some of the current thinking on the best ways that we can get something measured over. And it isn't necessarily spending millions of dollars on one graph.
Right.
And related to that, how that clause in there that says, and DENR should be the model for state government in so much of this. I'm probably wrong, but it seems to me that we have a regulation with DOT now, thanks to you and your predecessor, but, why are we not moving much faster on green vehicles?
Right.
That's a lot of little dollars, but DENR really ought to be the sort of the prime mover within state government in a lot of green practices, and I think we need to say that.
Okay. That's very helpful. Take note of that, man. And Lisa, on the environmental education piece, there's part of the plan that environmental education is responsible for on the development of the curriculum. It may be that we need to say clearly what Dr. Jones has just included on how we make that information widely known. Okay. Any other questions or comments, any suggestions? Yes, David.
Just touch on alleviate folks' concerns that if their specific duties, responsibilities, or even their divisions is not one of these 8, that doesn't mean that it's less important or...
Yeah, certainly. And that's exactly true. When we started working on the plan, we came to the conclusion early on in setting the parameters that we weren't going to try and do everything. The document, in that instance, could have been twice the size or much larger. And just because something that's not mentioned in there doesn't mention your particular division or the work that you're doing, it doesn't mean that it's not necessarily less important. I think there's enough in there that we can be all